Hey guys, I'm really excited to dig into this Unit 1 preview with you. I just want to thank you so much for tuning in and taking time out of the busy time of year that we are just running into with the start of the school year. I hope you're excited as much as I am to meet our scholars. So I'm hoping that this preview will help you as you prepare to teach them. First, I would just like to introduce myself. My name is Rachel Hagan. I graduated from Texas A&M, and I joined the Uplift Network in 2015. I've taught kindergarten for 3 years, and I've been both the writing and the reading planner. This is my first year as a CTL, so I'm really excited to kind of figure out what this role is going to look like this year, and I'm happy to be of any sort of help. I wanted to go over our process that I used as I planned this unit. So what I've done is I've kind of cut out our scope and sequence unit at a glance. And so what I have here is just kind of some notes about how I thought through this and how I processed Unit 1. I would like to start with how we begin practicing being a reader. So when scholars walk into our room day 1, they are not going to necessarily understand what it's like to be a reader, what it looks like, sounds like, feels like. And so that's going to be a lot of what we're going to be working on for the first week of school. They're going to talk about what it looks like to hold books, how to treat books, how to keep our eyes on the book, all those sorts of things that kindergartners really need when they walk in our classroom. And then we kind of move into more skill-based parts of reading. So we talk about parts of a book, the author, the illustrator, parts of the book as far as title page, the pages inside the book, the back cover, the front cover, all those sorts of things. And those are kind of things, skills that they're going to need to know as they become readers. So we kind of flow that way. And then we move into kind of just going deeper and deeper as what good readers do. So then scholars are going to start talking about schema. It's what they already know. It's in their brain. We kind of do a chant in my class where I'll say schema and they say it's in our brain. It's what we know. And that's just something that helps to solidify that vocabulary word for them. And then we go into making predictions, which are very different than schema because they're actual guesses and they don't always have to be correct, but they kind of should be on topic. And it's just making a guess about either what's going to happen on the next page, what's going to happen at the end of the book, or maybe even what you can extend the story and, what do you think would happen if something else happened. And then last, we kind of dive into the elements of a book, such as character, setting, and problem and solution. So I kind of like to think of it as a funnel, and I'll show you kind of that image on the next slide. But we started really broad as to what is a reader and what readers do, and we kind of go deeper and deeper into more skill-based understanding of what good readers actually do as they read. And these are all skills that they should be working throughout the year. So don't be too worried if this first unit you don't hear them using those vocabulary words. This is something like we're going to be talking about these things throughout the year. So they will definitely be getting more familiar with these terms. So this is kind of the image I was talking about. This is kind of where I thought of the flow of this unit. So we began with the big part, which is sharing of ideas and becoming a reader. So our scholars need to know what that good readers share what they read with another partner or a friend, and good readers listen and read and keep their eyes on the book and hold the book correctly. And then we kind of go narrower into parts of a book. So now that they understand what a good reader does as far as physically as they were reading, they're starting to know what they're reading and how they can find what they want to read. As far as going to the library, they know that they should look at the title, or they should look at the front cover or pages in the middle as they become experts at reading. And then we kind of go just a little bit further into schema and predictions, and those are skills that good readers should always be thinking about as they read. And these are skills that we want our scholars to do as they read their books independently. And then last, we kind of go into elements of a book. So the things that they're actually reading about, such as the setting, the characters, and the problem and solution. Those are kind of things that are all going to be in those fiction books that they're going to have in their hands. And so it's important for them to understand that these elements are in our stories and they help us to understand what we're reading. And I just want to go over some misconceptions. These are some things that I've noticed that my kids struggle with, and that because it's very new for them, for most of our scholars. Some misconceptions are what a good listener looks like and what a good listener should be doing and not doing. So some kids think listening, they don't need to make eye contact, or they don't need to have their eyes on the book. They think listening, they can still be fidgeting or maybe talking to a partner while they're reading. And a lot of the conversations we have, that good readers work independently unless it's a time where they do some shared reading with a partner. And so that's something that I find that our scholars have a lot of confusion about. Misconception, how to hold a book, how to treat books with respect. I always have a book that actually my mom made for me when I started teaching called Mr. Happy. That's something you could definitely Google. Mr. Happy teaches my kids how to treat their books nicely, and it gives them examples of ways that friends did not treat the story nicely. And so it gives them some different perspectives on how to treat books with respect. And they might be confused with different directional words, such as front and back. Those might be some terms that our scholars are not familiar with when talking about the front cover or back cover. Some vocabulary, such as author and illustrator, might be new or confusing. There might be, we always sing a song called The Author Wrote the Book and the Illustrator Drew the Picture. It's kind of to, I think it's Farmer in the Dell. I've attached a video in my resources in Blackboard if you want to see that video and hear the song. My kids sing it every time we read a story, whether it's read aloud or in a reading or in shared reading, and that really helps them to understand the different roles and the different jobs of author and illustrator. And some might be just learning the concept of a name. That's something we teach in writing, and so that might be something that is just confusing what a name looks like in written form. And then some scholars might be confused on what schema is, and that it's already something they know. It's pulling past information from what they've learned previously. And so that's something that I find that scholars get really confused. They think it's something that they should get from the story, but it's actually something that's, in their brain. It's what they know. And then a lot of confusion happens over the idea of a character and character actions and character feelings, as well as the difference between a main character and a secondary or a supporting character. So character is usually a new word for scholars, a new vocabulary word, and so I make sure I'm really careful on pointing out different characters in the story. That character doesn't just have to be a person. It can be an animal, it could be a plant, it could be a creature, like and where the wild things are. It doesn't necessarily just have to be a person, because lots of scholars, I think of characters, if they understand character, as a person, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a person. And then the difference between the main character and secondary character, that's kind of a push for some of your scholars maybe at the beginning of the year, but it's something we'll definitely come back to towards the end of the year. And so we just want to kind of preview that vocabulary for them, and so they can understand that the main character is who the story is about. They're usually on every single page, whereas the secondary character just kind of help the story become more interesting and kind of support that main character. And then I have an annotated lesson for you to look through. If you want to click on this document as I go through it, this will be what you'll see when you pull up an annotated model lesson. This lesson was on Chrysanthemum by Kevin Hinkes. And there's an Alternative Journeys lesson if you do not have that book, but I think it's definitely on the list that was handed out to deans and directors. That are something a book that you should have in your library. So I just went through the objective, and the objective is scholars will be able to describe characters in a story and the reasons for their actions. And this is for a fiction story. And you can see the teaks there. So my thinking is, as we become readers, good readers, think about before reading, during reading, and after reading. And these are kind of the three chunks of time that you will have in your reading lesson. The before reading is just kind of previewing the story, going over any reading routines, going over the front cover, back cover, spine, those vocabulary words, showing the title, having scholars repeat it back to you, reminding scholars the traits of a good reader. And then you need to move into vocabulary. Now, this is something that I'm really excited about because vocabulary is something my scholars really struggled with last year, and so that's something I'm really pushing this year. So you're going to preview these vocabulary words that are either part of the actual lesson and the objective or actually come from the story. So you can use on Post-its or note cards. I usually hold them up for my scholars, and I say the word and I define it for them and they say it back to me. Sometimes I do a facial expression or hand motion for like empathy. I might show like love, like I care for you. To tease, I might like laugh and point, so they kind of understand what those words are for more of our visual learners. And then we just kind of talk about the prior knowledge that they have, what they already know. It might just be going back to something we've talked to earlier in the week or the previous week, and we're just kind of building on the things they know. And then you're going to begin to read, and when you begin to read the story, you're going to talk through the questions you're going to ask throughout the story, and maybe even at the end, and kind of give them a little synopsis and preview of what they're about to hear. And you can also even start to begin to connect that to any kind of IB traits or IB profiles that you might have, depending on what you're doing that unit. And then during reading, so this is going to take a little bit of pre-planning, and that you're just going to need to write down these questions, sticky notes, and stick them in the book. So as you get to these points, you can stop and talk with your scholars, either doing a think aloud or doing a think, pair, share, or doing just quick questioning. And these are kind of where the teaching happens in a sense, and you're kind of using the story to teach to your objective. And then we get to the after reading, and this is kind of where you can connect to what you talked about in the before reading, and you can have some really good questions and conversation time. This can be really more teacher just directed and scholar led. So eventually this would look like you kind of just guiding questions and having scholars either sit on the edge of your carpet or sit in a circle or continue to sit in their seats or spots so that they can have these conversations. I like to do circle time just because I feel like that facilitates better conversations. My kids can see each other's faces. And then at the end, we're going to have either an IP or exit ticket. I'm moving kind of away from multiple choice questions so that scholars can be more authentic in what they're showing us, whether it's drawing a picture and labeling or having conversations about the stories that are in their book bags. And then I always kind of try and have a independent reading, the ways you can check in with your scholars as they're reading. So that's what an annotated model lesson. On the side, there will be more notes, which are kind of what I'm just saying to you. If you pull it up, you'll get to see the notes that I've made on the side, which are going to reflect the things that I've just gone over with you guys. So here are some resources. I wanted to highlight some resources for you guys. You can find them on Blackboard. You can click on this link and find it on Blackboard. There's 10 resources there. They range from a anchor chart to songs to more things that are, I have a page where there are lots of great questions for you to guide your scholars as you talk. They're kind of in blooms, so they go from more simple questions to more deep questions. So that's there. So there's all kinds of things up there for you to look at. There's the anchor charts, some anchor charts that I added that I did not put on Blackboard because I only put 10, but there's some more for you to use that go along with the lessons that are in the unit at a glance. There's the song, if you would like to find the song. There's a chant that we use in my classroom. Here's some good reader pictures. So as you talk, this is really good for your ESL kids to hold up these pictures so that as you go over what a good reader looks like, sounds like, feels like, that's something you can hold up for them so it's visual for them. And there's some videos for you making predictions. That's a skill that's kind of more difficult for our scholars, so that video helps them if you have a BrainPop login. Here's some more resources. Here are some book suggestions. I think most of these are on the list that was sent out, but there might be some that are not, but these are just some books that we've used in the past at my school for reading, and if you find them helpful, you are welcome to use them. Some of them are both journeys or just books that we get from our library. Okay, well, that's all I have for you. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Here's some contact information for me. I'd be happy to help you in any way, whether it's finding resources with you or navigate stations, whatever that looks like, whatever your needs are. Please don't hesitate to reach out. I'd be happy to help you in any way I can. And once again, I just want to thank you for watching my video. Thank you so much. Bye.